anything nice that could be said about a young woman has been said about our guest today, Lainie Kazan. Oh, this is so sultry.
You like my Tondalea shorts?
Honey, it's a wonderful look. You don't have to wear anything with it.
Gypsy. No, I thought I put my disguise on, but don't pull it. You know, next show, I had to look a little different. I feel different, you know?
Well, you should, dear, because with wearing all that...
Can you find my face?
Yes, of course you can. It's very exciting. It's wonderful.
It's fun.
I think this long-haired look is wonderful when you don't have to grow it. If you can go right out in the store and buy it and glue it, you know, just sort of put it on with a hairpin, that's great.
It's great, except when you take it off at night. It's just a terrible shock. It really is. You know, you feel so glamorous and marvelous all day, and then you look at yourself at night, and you have little pin curls all over your head with all...
Honey, the most terrible thing that ever happened to me, I used to wear false bangs like this. And I never told any of my husbands that they were false. But and why should I admit all of these things? But on one of my wedding nights, sir, I want you to know, the hair was lying on the pillow after I got up.
Oh, God. That's like that old joke.
Marriage didn't last very long. 2 o'clock in the morning, she arrived here. Now, that is really a friend, you know, and we have been friends for a long, long time. In fact, I was reading her book again last night because sometimes you know people so well, and you're so used to everything that has happened to them that you assume that everybody else knows how they began. And I think that her stardom has been so great that we have forgotten exactly that she began with Katherine Dunham's Dancers. We don't think of her as a dancer, really, you know? Anyway, maybe she'll talk about it. Eartha Kitt. I got the book out of my bookcase, and it's a charming book, incidentally. It's called Thursday's Child, and it was written by Eartha quite some time ago. But I said to myself, now, let me think, because it'd be a funny line. Was she born in a town called South in North Carolina or in a town called North in South Carolina? And what is the first paragraph? I was born in a little town called North in South Carolina.
I think that's why I have to go to an analyst.
What?
No, but it is rather confusing, isn't it? To be born in a place called North in South Carolina. And when I say that to somebody, they really get terribly confused, and it causes quite a lot of explanation, but that is actually true. There is a little town called North in South Carolina, and now there is a little plaque when you enter this little town that said Eartha Kitt was born here.
Do they say that?
I think that's adorable.
Well, I was going to ask you if your neighbors had the vaguest idea when this little child, because it was your aunt who raised you, really, wasn't it? But if any of your neighbors ever dreamed that you were going to be wined and dined by literally crowned heads of Europe, that you would be having dinner with Nasser?
Yeah.
And stood him up?
I'm sorry, I didn't have dinner with Nasser. I didn't accept that.
Oh, you didn't accept that one.
I did have dinner with Nehru.
Nehru, yeah.
Yes, because I thought...
Well, that's why I said he invited you to dinner and you stood him up.
No, the thing that happened with Nasser was I was working at the Talk of the Town in London. And, of course, I sing a lot of Hebrew songs, you know, and, of course, they were very nervous about the fact that he was there. He was sitting at ringside with all his paraphernalia and his entourage and so forth and so on. And they were nervous about the fact that I was going to sing in Hebrew. And they came to me and they asked me, please, would you, you know, sort of omit that song from your repertoire tonight? So here he was, sitting at this huge table with tremendous, you know, turbans on and the whole thing like this, you know. He sits there and he just looks at me very curiously. I didn't think that he knew what I was or why I was, or he didn't understand me at all.
He was probably fitting you into his harem, darling. That's what he was probably doing.
Tell me you're a nice Jewish girl.
I didn't think that was necessary. But anyway, I took my pillow, you know, a part of my chaise lounge. I went and I sat on the floor and I reclined into his face. And I sang my songs in Hebrew. And of course everybody's like this, you know, they're saying, oh my goodness, everything's gonna happen. But he accepted it. He really accepted it beautifully.
Then didn't he invite you to dinner and you turned him down?
Well, he invited me to do a lot of things and I turned him down.
See? I didn't want to say that because I it's true.
Because I don't think he's a nice Jewish boy.
Before we went on the air today, I was saying each time Eartha's been on, I've introduced her because I love it. I think it was a wonderful statement, and it hasn't been said in a long time. I'm the only one who keeps saying it. But Orson Welles said that Eartha was the most exciting woman in the world.
And I believed every word he said.
Sure. I've told this to many people, and of course they all say, well, I know Eartha Kitt, of course, but who's Orson Welles?
I love it.
Many, many years ago, he said, I am destined to be a fat man. And there are not many truly fat men. You know, Sidney Greenstreet and perhaps Victor Buono, you know, truly fat men who could never be other than fat men. And he's one of them.
Yes, but even though they become fat, it does not deteriorate from their charm.
No, or their sex appeal.
Yes,
You know,
because they are
some-
so exciting intellectually. That's why I think that if you're going to be fat, you better get something upstairs.
Yeah. Along while you're getting it here. Where's my advertising? Oh, nice. 1 minute.
I really do. I resent. I come on television, I go on the Dean Martin show or some other show, and they are so terribly feared that I'm going to show a little extra skin. I mean, that's there, you know it's there, and why cover it up and disguise it when these little girls come on the rock and roll shows and wiggle and practically do a striptease right in front of the camera? That's all right.
Lainey, I must say something about you, though, darling. Some women can be completely dressed and look nakeder than anybody. And you have that. When you are as sexy looking as you and Eartha are, men get peculiar ideas. The least little skin just drives them crazy.
Look what I have to sit here at.
It's true. I know, dear, but that's Marty. It doesn't take much
No.
to make Marty crazy, you see.
I think very often that the people like Marty, for instance, who constantly says you have to cover up, cover up, cover up, I think you underestimate the women at home. The women don't mind looking at a little flesh here and there. Why should you?
You know, the last time Eartha was on, I played a record of hers, Monotonous, which I adore, from New Faces.
Yeah.
And she didn't remember it at all. But
that's
this
true.
time,
I do remember
Peter, Lainey's conductor was going to play something for her, and while you were being regaled by our advertisement, we were trying to select something. And I think if you would just let him do a little of that, and just play those little chords from the Beatles song, would you please, Peter?
He can't remember?
No, that's without a shirt.
Is that what that is? Is without a shirt?
Without a shirt.
You know, the name of this song is called Day Tripper.
What does that mean?
I haven't the faintest
If
idea.
somebody takes a trip just for a day in England, it's like taking a trip just for the day in England. And it's a Beatles song.
I see.
And I know all about Beatles songs, and those are the guys who take those day trips, you know. It's like taking the Albany night boat.
Oh, Gypsy.
Well, not the same idea. We used to take
Are
the
you
Albany
speaking
night boat.
from
Not to get to
experience?
Albany, but you took the Albany night boat because it was...
Honey,
Honey, sing Day Tripper.
I don't even remember it.
What? You were just saying that...
Oh.
You know, a few bars of this, we're going to run out of time.
I think you always run out of time. Why don't they make your show an hour instead of a half an hour?
This is how she began as a dancer. Remember the night that you scared everybody absolutely to pieces? She scared them to death. She's doing a nightclub act, and she sings this real sultry song, and she took a leap from one side of the stage to the other and went slithering all the way across the stage, and there's one woman sitting with her champagne ringside drinking, and Eartha came sliding across the stage, and this one stopped me short, just this close to knocking that woman's
I beg your pardon. Yes, I did, as a
You
matter
did on
of
purpose.
fact.
She was a little, darling, will you please sing? Not going to have any time. Lady, will you do?
I want to hear
Grace?
ladies.
Me a grave. Only if he won't photograph my room.
Right here, darling.
You really want me to sing?
I think
please,
you can
lady.
sit up, listen to that.
Stand up and sing Peel Me a Grape. God, I love you.
Peel me a grape, crush me some ice, skin me a peach, save the fuzz for my pillow, start me a smoke, talk to me nice. You gotta wine me and dine me, don't try to fool me, bejewel me, either amuse me or lose me. I'm getting hungry. Peel me a grape. Pop me a cork, French me a fry, crack me a nut, bring a bowl full of bonbons, chill me some wine, keep standing by, just entertain me, champagne me, show me you love me, kid glove me, best way to charm me, cashmere me, I'm getting hungry, you should peel me a grape. Here's how to be an agreeable chap. Love me and leave me in luxury's lap. Hop when I holler, skip when I snap. When I say do it, jump to it, send for the scotch. Call me a cab, cut me a rose, make my tea with the petals. Just hang around, pick up the tab. Never outthink me, just mink me, polar bear rug me. Don't bug me. I'm getting hungry. Peel me a grape. Here's how to be an agreeable chap. Love me and leave me in luxury's lap. I said hop when I holler, skip when I snap. When I say do it, jump to it, just hang around, pick up the tab. Never outthink me, just mink me, polar bear rock me. Don't bug me, new thunderbird me. You heard me? I'm getting hungry. Peel me a grape. And next time, bring your own grapes.
I tell you, if she had been around in the 30s, she would have been one of the biggest Berlin stars in the world. Can you imagine her doing that on a runway?
Wow! Oh, wow!
It's fun.
What do they do on a runway?
Honey, they used to do that without their clothes on. Honey, do you know how to play just a little bit of Let Me Entertain You? Because this is the... Let me
Are you gonna do
entertain you, all three of us. Let me make you smile. Let me do some new tricks.
some old and some new tricks? I don't know.
I'm very versatile. And if you're real good,
I'll make you
feel good. I want your feelings to
I get
rise.
the message, baby. I get the
Oh,
message.
let me entertain you.